This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Back to the Garden Childcare,
Back to the garden!
where learning grows naturally.
So, good afternoon, Rod. How you doing?
Not too well. Mixed, James. Mixed. The day is lovely. The sun is shining. At least Spain won the World Cup.
Yeah.
But still trying to get over England's falling apart in the semis.
I know.
Neymar
Just backed off and didn't do anything.
backed off. No plan.
No attacking Serbs, no Saka, no Rashford. Just sit back, deep block.
Do you know, this episode of View from the Street, I think could have been Sack Tuchel or not. But there you go. That's a totally different thing.
Okay, well, we decided because the World Cup finished yesterday with Spain winning, which was a win for the world.
It was a win for the world. Because
Argentina fouling all the time.
it was like rugby versus football.
I know. They did it against England. They literally just foul everyone, and the referee doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah, but Spain were the best team, thankfully, and football won the day.
They did.
All right.
And on that football note, we're happy. And because Andy Burnham is his first day in charge today, or his first day as Prime Minister, we're going to ask the people of Altrincham what they think.
It's a huge day. It's the start of Burnham's vision for Britain. Is it something like our 9th PM in 10 years or 7th PM in 10 years? It's something like that.
It's definitely 5th in 4 years.
I think in 10 years, I think we've had something like 7.
Because we've had Cameron, and we had Theresa May. We had
Truss.
Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
And we've had Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
And Keir Starmer. And now
Burnham.
10 years.
It'd be interesting if people feel optimistic about what Burnham will bring. I'm going to be interested, very interested.
We're going to unpack this topic, aren't we, Rod? And I think we're also going to ask them if there is any bonus in the fact that he's got such connections with Manchester in the north. Is that a good thing?
Well, he's already talked about doing some ministerial work up in the north as well.
Number 10 in the north.
Number 10 in the north. Now, whether that's just a gimmick, but I'm feeling positive. I'd just be interested if the people of Altrincham feels positively about it.
He actually wants to work hybrid and wants to work some of his work in Manchester.
Oh, I think he's taken a modern approach. Even the small things he's done so far, I think you're going to see a very modern, connected Prime Minister, I hope.
But I remember when we stood here 2 years ago, you thought that Starmer made a good start and he did some good things. Do you think this is an improvement on Starmer?
Yeah, I think so, because personally speaking, Starmer was a good man, right? He had the right conscience, etc., but he just could not reach the people. He couldn't communicate. And I think 60% of what a Prime Minister needs to do is communicate confidently and engage people. Starmer can do that. He was too academic as a person, too stiff. But on the international stage, I think he did us a great job. But, it's what is it, 2 years of this government, and we've had a change, But the Labour Party at least have got behind Burnham because they didn't force a leadership election, and that's actually probably helped us because we didn't need that kerfuffle all the way through the summer.
Yeah, I agree. Smooth landing, smooth ride,
smooth transition. Let's just hope it is. Let's see what he's got in his locker.
Yeah. And let's see if he's fresh and he's ready for the job.
And let's see if the people of Altrincham believe he is.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
supported by
Where little explorers grow naturally.
So, good afternoon, sir. On the cusp of Andy Burnham becoming PM, we're asking people, how do they feel about Burnham's Britain? Are they feeling optimistic? Do they feel that there'll be something different? Or do you think it's going to be the same old, same old? How do you feel?
I feel that he ought to be given a chance. I think a lot of people are already prejudiced against him before he's been given a chance. I think he ought to be given the opportunity to tell us what he's got in mind, and people should not be prejudging him. He needs to be given a chance.
And what he's done here in Manchester, and for me, as almost a Scouser coming into Manchester, what he's done was fantastic. That I see that as a good sign for what could come in the future with him.
Well, as somebody who's actually had personal dealings with him on a specific subject, I found him very open-minded, very engaging, and he did what he said on the tin. That seems to have been replicated across what we've seen in Manchester. So again, it's important that people give him a chance. People have got preconceived ideas about him. Really important he has a chance to do what he says he's going to do.
And he does seem to be taking a wider approach. He does seem to be trying to engage the country rather than just factions within the country. Would you agree?
I agree with that. Clearly, he's got a northern agenda, which is no bad thing.
It is not.
People in the deep south will probably say they need to be looked after, but I think he's open-minded about that, and the likelihood is, therefore, that he will be for the whole country and not just the south, and it's about time too.
And is this number 10 of the north a bit of a gimmick, or do you think he's serious about it?
I think he's serious about it, but again, it doesn't mean he's going to neglect the South. I think it's showing he's open-minded to looking after the whole country, which is what a Prime Minister should do.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Perfect.
The Late Late Lunch Show with Back to the Garden Childcare. Natural beginnings for bright futures.
So good afternoon, sir. Welcome to View from the Street with me, Jay Spence and Rob Maxwell. So today we're asking people about Andy Burnham, and as Burnham begins today, Burnham's Britain. And I just wanted to know whether you're feeling hopeful and optimistic, or do you feel it's just more of the same?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a change is good, but too much change is bad, as evidenced by the Tories and, their constant changes. But yeah, generally optimistic. Wasn't a huge fan of Starmer, but, he actually did deliver on some stuff. Socially, not so much, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. As far as I know, I'm not from the north, but he's been doing a good job in Manchester. So hopefully he can translate that into something in the PM seat.
Yeah. You think it's going to be an improvement then?
I don't know. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I was a big fan of the scrapping of digital IDs. I think for me that's a big positive very early on. So hopefully, but
Do you think it was successful here in Manchester?
I don't know. I'm not from Manchester, so I can't tell. But people seem to like him. My mates in Manchester seem to think he's been a good mayor. He was mayor, right? Here, yeah. I know he's been good with public transport, as far as I can know. But yeah, hopefully. At this point, that's all I can really do.
Okay. Last question. Do you think that there's a problem with British politics? The fact that we're having like 7 prime ministers in 10 years. Do you think this is a fall of Brexit, maybe ripping up the economic system and our financial system and our political system, and that's why all this is happening, this instability that's going on?
I don't necessarily think. I mean, I'm not a fan of Brexit. I voted Remain. I think Brexit is definitely one of the causes. I don't think everything that we've got wrong going on can be tied back to Brexit. I think, in the age of social media, I think attention span and all of that being kind of destroyed is really bad. People aren't accepting that improvements take time and are just constantly wanting things to get better and are, just unwilling to accept that things will take time and just want change now. And I think people need to be more patient and let the politicians take their time to actually enact change and see it happen.
They almost want politics, don't they?
Yeah.
If it doesn't apply instantly, they have no time for a plan.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Maybe I think a part of that is also I think that Labour have been really bad with like messaging and like putting out what they're actually doing. Yeah. They've actually I'm quite pro immigration, but I think uncontrolled immigration is probably bad, but like they've actually had quite good numbers and pulling numbers down, which is what the far right wants, but there seems to be no actual like conveying that message out to the people who want to hear it. And yeah, I don't know. hopefully we see them get better, but
well, they can only go one way, can't they, really? All right, well, thank you very much indeed.
No worries.
Cheers.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Childbird learning in nature's playground.
So, good afternoon, madam. Today on Fewfin Street, we're asking people what to think about Burnham's Britain. Are they feeling positive? Are they feeling negative? They don't know. And you've just been talking to me about one of the things that happened under his role as Greater Manchester Mayor, which is bike lanes.
Yeah.
And you were saying there's been a bit of a reversal on bike lanes down where you live.
There was a reversal, a big reversal. To say what I went down to go to the local shop, and the traffic going into Manchester. I live in West Himplee. The traffic going into Manchester, one lane of cars was at a standstill. The traffic coming out of Manchester into Altrincham, a standstill, one lane of cars. And then I looked, and there was like an 8-10 foot bike lane with no bikes in. So I just think that it's a bit of a numbskull.
So does that make? I know you tell me that that's been reversed since, but
Oh yeah, it was only there a very short time because of all the complaints, obviously. So
was it a trial or was it actually thought out sort of implemented plan, or was it a trial?
I don't know that, but I know there was lines there. There was definite, demarcation for the bikes going in and the bikes coming out. So it was done properly.
So does that make you concerned that he might do some things that tick the boxes of certain agenda, and they are not necessarily practical?
Yeah. Yes, quite true. I do think that. The way I just didn't think he'd thought that out at all. I just thought he thought, oh, this is a good idea. I'll show them what I'm going to do. And so it was rubbish.
Well, I hope he's a little bit better on economic, foreign and health policy.
So do I.
Okay.
So do I. So
Just-
do I.
We've had something like, is it 6 or 7 prime ministers in the last 10 years? Is it the impossible job?
Well, I don't even think Sternham did much a better job, do you? I mean, what did he actually do? He was always, I suppose he was abroad a lot, trying to get
Starmer.
start, yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah, build relations with Ukraine and Europe.
yeah, he was. But what did he do for Britain, really?
Yeah.
That's what that's what needs to happen, something for us.
I personally think the issue with Burnham was that he was almost so academic. He was such a big thinker. He didn't have the gift of being able to talk to ordinary people. Starmer. Sorry, he didn't have that. He didn't have that kissing babies and hugging grandmas type thing. And as a leader, you need to be a practical all rounder.
Perhaps Burnham has got that gift. He can talk to people, can't he? He can actually organise something that nobody wants. Like
Well, he could talk a good game, maybe.
he could, yeah.
And we need somebody to talk a good game for Britain, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
And play a good game.
So maybe he will do well. Give him a chance. I give everybody a chance, but
Well,
here's,
I'll tell you
here's
what,
hoping
we'll
now.
see you in a year's time and we can come back and mark his card, shall we?
We'll be here.
Lovely to see you.
Thanks, madam.
So, good afternoon. Today on Fewfin Street, we're asking people about Burnham's Britain. Are they feeling optimistic? Are they feeling pessimistic? Are they not sure? You're a young voter. What's your view on what he's said so far and what he might bring as Prime Minister?
Well, I'm a lot more optimistic about him than Starmer. I think he'll do a lot better than Starmer, especially what he's done in Manchester with like transport and everything. But he has been a bit controversial, especially his views on like Israel and stuff like that. So we'll see how he does. I'm not sure, but I've got more hope in him than Starmer.
Can I ask? I think it's something like 6 prime ministers in the last 10 years, which is almost more 7, isn't it?
7.
You're right. Okay, we're on 7. Well done. That's more than England's had managers, actually. Do you think it's like the impossible job? Why do so many people mess it up, in your view?
Well, the country's just so divided, I think. Obviously, the rise of reform and everything like that is just so divided. I don't think everyone's going to be happy with everything, but you're never going to win, I don't think. But
And is there anything we can take from the fact that, as a Scouser, because he is, an Evertonian fan, for example, Burnham came in to be Mayor of Greater Manchester. A lot of people feel that he's brought a unity and he's brought a direction and he's brought an energy to the city. Do you think that gives any hope for his role as Prime Minister?
yeah, definitely. I think he's brought loads of everyone in Manchester likes him, most people. I know loads of people that love him. I think he's done a lot for Manchester, but I think obviously half the country love Farage, so I don't know how he's going to do with that with reform. But I think he is hopeful. I think a lot of people like him. So yeah, and he's very chill. He's more relaxed. So
And what was the problem with Starmer in your view? Was it that he was a bit too stiff, not a good communicator?
Yeah, he was quite stiff. He was also very U-turns, did a lot of U-turns, didn't know what he wanted.
Not clear.
Yeah. I don't think he was as bad as people made him out to be, but he wasn't the right fit, was he?
One last question. Yeah. As a young person, a young voter, what for you is the biggest issue that this new government needs to tackle?
I think they mostly just need to fight the rise of reform because it is a really big issue and it is really scary to see.
Is it reform or is it the right wing ideology?
Yeah, all right wing stuff. Mostly reform with Farage and what they want to do in the policies. It's just very scary as a woman and as a young person. So
okay.
Yes.
Well, thanks for stopping.
No problem.
It's good to get your view.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by
Where little explorers grow naturally.
So good afternoon. Today on View from the Street on Radio Walter, we're asking people about Burnham's Britain. Are they feeling pessimistic, optimistic, neutral about it? You're a young voter. What's your view?
What's my view? Right, if Andy Burnham was going to be good, he needs to focus on three things like Trump said. Immigration, energy and crime. That's what Keir Starmer's failed on. They're the three things Keir Starmer's failed on. And Andy Burnham needs to fix them three things to fix the country, I believe. It's crazy. I actually see the UK as losers because Norway buys the oil from the North Sea and we still buy our oil from Norway. And Norway have made some few trillion off North Sea oil and they don't even have the best bit. We have the best bit. So why on earth are we paying for... So yeah, just drill the North Sea. Forget green energy. It's too expensive. It's a waste of time. And I tell you what, 90% of the oil in that North Sea is still there. So plenty of it.
You probably saw over the weekend that there seems to be a bit of a backtrack now on the energy. And you're a young person, but you believe it would be it's a sound move. It's a positive move.
Yeah, very positive indeed. I generally think it's the right idea because places like Aberdeen, they've been losing money and losing jobs in Aberdeen and been told to work on green energy, which in fact which green energy jobs pay only half of what they pay in the North Sea oil. So I think it's brilliant news. I don't think it'll fix everything, but again, I think...
What about moving to energy that's more renewable in the long term, though? Because they're always going to run out eventually.
They're going to run out eventually, but for now, I think we drill the North Sea. I think for the next few centuries, I think for the next few decades, I don't think it'll last centuries, but a few decades at least.
Can I ask you, as a young voter, a young person in Britain, over and above energy policy, what else is really important to you?
Crime. I think people like Sadiq Khan, I know this is very not to do with Andy Burnham, but there's things on the street like people getting stabbed on the street, and I generally believe that needs to be cut down 100%. We need tougher police. We definitely need tougher police because I think our police force is very weak, actually. And I generally think that because people like Sadiq Khan, for an example, say, oh, London's a safe place, London's safe. And why is it every week I keep hearing crime going on, like people getting stabbed up on the street? It's wrong. It's absolutely terrible. And it needs to be sorted out because honestly, our crime rate's going up through the roof.
So in summary, do you think this is a good move away from Starmer to Burnham?
I don't know. Because since Tony Blair, our country's been going down rapid since Tony Blair. Because I'm not trying to be anti-immigration, but I think we've had a lot of illegal immigration, which I think's terrible, and I think that needs to be sorted out. Yes, it's gone down like mad, but I definitely believe it needs to go to zero. Because there's hotels like over there at the Cresta Court, and it's not fair because it used to be a really nice hotel. And now they've let all these illegal migration, all the illegals into the hotel, and now people are paying for it, and it's not fair. I generally don't think it's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your view.
Yeah,
oh, very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on. So good afternoon, sir. On Radio Alti today, we're asking on View from the Street what people think about Burnham's Britain, his vision for Britain. And you just said to me, actually, to be fair, we don't know because we don't know what he stands for yet.
No, but I hope he does well, and I wish him all the best. You know, we've had lots of prime ministers over the last 10 years. I think it's 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we want someone to really put a stamp on things and to help everybody, you know, from, you know, the wealthy to the poor, so everybody gets a bite of the cherry.
Can I ask you, why do you think that stat of 7 prime ministers in 10 years? I mean, there's no football club could survive that. There's no company that could survive that. Why do you think we keep on getting people who can't do the job?
I think personally, I think we haven't got a solid. There's no party that's solid. Imagine, say, Labour. Even now they're talking. There's 100 odd people who are still with Starmer and thinking his way, and Conservatives, they were broken up as well. There were different people who were foreign, Boris and different other ones. And there's no. When we vote a party in, we vote the party in, but we're not voting 300 Labour MPs in who all think the same way.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't do either.
No.
You've got to have an opinion, and everybody's entitled to opinion. But there's too much infighting. There's too much backstabbing, to be honest. And I don't know. I just think.
Do you think the lack of one direction, or at least going in one direction, is because nobody's ever set out post-lockdown or post-lockdown or post-Brexit what the Britain of the future looks like? We don't really know what it looks like.
Gosh, no.
I mean, who do we compare ourselves with? Is there a particular country we can compare ourselves with? And I think generally, everybody seems to be in the same situation worldwide at the moment.
There's a gulf of capability, isn't there?
Yeah.
They just, we hear things about Spain, but we go to Spain quite a few times, and they've got just the same sort of problems in their electorate, in their MPs, equivalent to MPs. America is all very nice. Trump got in by a big majority, but I think if we had the same election this week, I don't think he'd get in.
Yeah.
And I think generally, there seems to be a different way of thinking. Everybody thinks different than what we did 20 years ago.
Sorry, I was just saying, in Spain, when he's talking about Spain, they all have mayors. All the counties have mayors, don't they? The areas. So is that a good thing? And he's come from a mayor. He's come from being a mayor. On the world stage, what's he going to be? How's he going to cope with it?
Yes.
I don't know.
And a lot of it is about the optics, isn't it? You need to look like you are able to stand up to these other world leaders.
Yeah.
And you've got to be all things to all people. You've got to be almost presidential in one way, and then a man of the people in another.
Yeah. I mean, Andy Burnham's a man of the people, but is he a statesman?
And he's going to have to step up, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he managed it quite well, I think.
Keir Starmer, I think, was good on the world stage.
But not a man of the people.
No.
And he couldn't communicate what he was thinking.
No. And they're not allowed to anyway. Every time they want to put something forward, there's that many people going, no, you can't do it. Civil servants, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Is it the impossible job?
Starmer would make a good foreign secretary now.
Yes.
Because I think he can meet the right people. He can speak to them the right way. I mean, he stood up to Trump regarding the forces and everything like, defence. I think he'd make a good foreign secretary. Yeah. They're arguing about who's going to get what jobs now. And
should pitch that job, pitch that idea.
I agree with you, because he's got the network, and his law background leads to understanding and managing the situations. But he wasn't any good at articulating basic stuff for people on the streets.
I don't think he understood it on what the basic working man, how he copes with everything. And Boris was like that a bit, really, but he had a lot of problems through the COVID, didn't he? And that knocked him back, I think. But he did very well and coped with it the best way he could.
So we're almost saying that it's actually become a more impossible job than being an England football manager, aren't we?
Well, I think you might be very right there. Well, I think I would stick with Tuchel. Tuchel. I think I would stick with him actually now, because I'm thinking when you think of it, we finished third. Well, third out of 48 is quite good, isn't it?
Not bad. So what we're saying is stick with Tuchel. We're going to go with Burnham. We're going to back him. That's our 4-4-2.
So don't vote Labour.
We don't know anything what's going to happen.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Anybody,
and you wish them all the best. And we're pensioners, and we just hope we get something out of it. We're extra pension, extra monies, and these sort of things. You know what I mean?
And see the country going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I think everyone wants it to. Everyone wants it.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping.
Okay.
Be happy.
Be happy.
Right. Nice to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Very much.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell.
Supported by...
Where little explorers grow naturally.
Okay, Rob, we're roasting in the sun, but how do you think that went?
I liked it. I liked it because it was... I'm just trying to think of what the overall direction was on this. And I think there was a balance between people being a little bit confused and tired of politics and lacking belief. And then some other people just saying, well, can he be really any worse? And does his track record in Manchester give us hope? And I think some people think that too. But there's a bit of apathy. And this is there's apathy in our political system now, and that's not a good thing. But I like some of the suggestions where people say, well, Starmer's a far better foreign secretary than he would be PM. And I would like to think that he wouldn't just back away. He's got too much experience, So, yeah, I mean, once again, people of Altrincham are never short of an opinion, young and old.
Yeah, very good. Like they definitely seem to engage with the topic, and obviously there is all that scar tissue from Starmer and the previous governments, but looks like people do want to give him a chance.
It's a bit like football, isn't it? Everybody feels like they could be a manager. But that's at least having an opinion, having a view, at least that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And you should have on your country, so
it's like the sporting analogy you just said about England and football. Like, obviously they backed off against Argentina and lost when they could have won and attacked. And Tuchel says the problem with our DNA, like England's getting 1-0 and then just resting on 1-0 and inviting teams on us. And then it's the same with the government. Like, we seem to have problems with that. So do we stick with Tuchel and back him? Has he figured out the problem? And has Burnham figured out the problem and he's doing some devolution?
Do you know that DNA point really wound me up? Right? Yeah, it did. Because as a coach, he's also got to look at the culture of the team.
Making excuses.
And I think he's making excuses. If, he was the one, though, that went defensive in that game. So he played to that. I didn't agree with that. But coming back on the field. Coming back to Burnham, he's going to have a 200-day plan. Right. And he's got to have some quick wins, and he's also got to set out some longer term plans. And he's got to buy himself some time to go after the bigger things. But at the same time, he's got to show people there is change happening. That's a real balanced portfolio type approach. And you've got to be able to do that. You've got to show some minor progress in the short term while setting out the big bets. And you've got to be able to communicate to people. And that was Starmer's big issue. Big issue.
Well, Burnham's good at that, though, with Mayor of Manchester, and his communication is quite strong for him.
It is. In some ways, you've got to watch he doesn't get too gimmicky, But I think that's one of the things he's got in his locker is team working, because he came into Manchester and he had to galvanize a team that already in place for some time. And a lot of the thoughts were already in place. He had to work with that team. So maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I think the experience, albeit that it's in Greater Manchester, a large region within the UK, I think he's had a chance to test some aspects of what he'll need.
Yeah, and it's actually a very interesting case study, Altrincham, because I thought it was a very kind of like posh affluent area, with more pro-conservative, but it seems like there are Labour voters here.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely obviously posh bits of it. Maybe they're not out on a Monday, but yeah, there's a working class attitude. The fact is, Labour have lost support amongst that sort of cut and thrust because they've not been clear on certain things like migration, and they've not been clear on jobs in the economy. That's what Burnham's got to do.
This is the Late Late Lunch Show with Rod Maxwell, supported by
where little explorers grow naturally.